Okay, welcome back, familia. Who are we? The Cheeseman. Welcome back to the Cheeseman familia. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
I feel a little. I feel a little lost. But we actually have some really good tea today. It's been brewing, and you know when it brews, it's good. It's been sitting there, and it's got some flavor.
Yep.
So today we're going to segue into a really personal topic for us. Friendships. Girl friendships. Particularly when they get into a relationship. I don't know how much y'all know. If you have been catching up with us in our latest videos, I recently found the love of my life. And when me and Karina met, I was single, and so, well, you know what I mean. Not like single, but very available, where I had all the time to just, be with her at all times. I was very available, and so, then comes a new relationship and how we have adapted and how people handle those types of changes. Yeah.
It's hard.
So
it's hard because you get so used to, I think...
Tell me how you feel. This could be therapy for us. Therapy Thursday. Oh, no.
So obviously, like you mentioned, when we met, you were available all the time, right? Yeah. And I was just as available because obviously, like, my husband has a job, and so he's at work,
and your kids go to school.
And my kids go to school, so it's like I have, and with the type of work that we do, we have pretty much like all day to get together and work and hang out.
Yeah.
And with the work that we do,
I love your earrings, by the way.
They're the dupes.
Oh, those are the ones?
These are the dupes.
Finally, I've been asking her to wear these earrings for me.
These are the Bottega dupes,
and
guys.
I love
Amazon.
them. They look so bougie.
Thank you.
Like,
so obviously, like,
we met and we were together like
all the time,
24/7,
every day.
Because we were working. We were working, guys.
It was weird when we weren't together.
Yeah, like
people would
once
expect
a week.
us, like, oh, hey, it's Jessica.
Like,
Jess has to be with you.
Yeah, like
where is she?
Where's Karina? Like, they just thought we were gonna know.
So obviously, like, as humans, we get so accustomed to a certain way of life, a certain way of living, and our day to day
habits and patterns.
Yeah. And so, once you got into a relationship, it was a really big shocker for me.
Yeah.
It was not, obviously, like, I was super happy that you are in a relationship and you found someone good.
And not toxico.
But obviously, like, as a friend and as someone who we would spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
Like,
not just physically, but on the phone.
Yeah.
Like we would go home and then we would get on the phone for hours. It was like...
Yeah, it was kind of... Like, I think we were, like, toxic with each other.
Like, my kids are like, oh, who are you on the phone with? Oh, it's Karina. Yeah. Like, they already knew. They're like, Mom, I think Karina's your best friend.
Yeah.
Because we were just always together. Yeah.
And so, obviously... when you did get into this relationship, obviously you have to cultivate that relationship. Yeah. You have to then spend time with this other person. You have to, do all the things that we were doing together.
Yeah.
Getting to know each other. Because again, like, our friendship was also new. Like, we've known each other for 2 years now. Yeah. Right? Yeah, 2 years.
It's going to be 3 years.
No, it's 2. We met in 2021. So it's 2 years.
Why does it already felt like it was 2 years?
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're right. Because 2.5 years of our real estate license.
Did we?
Yeah.
No, we met in 2021. Yes, yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, going through our own getting to know each other.
Yeah.
How getting to know you as a person, me as a person, and then what that vibe between our friendship is, and seeing, like, because obviously, like, all we've seen is just like the highs of our personality, right? Like, even though you were going through a lot of things, like, in your personal relationship, with
we were still in the honeymoon stage.
Yeah.
We hadn't really gone through anything to test our relationship.
Correct. And so this new relationship comes, and it was very challenging for me because I'm like, oh my god, like, where's my friend? Like, I felt so left out, and I think at times I did even get a little jealous, like, your man is taking you away from me.
She's mine.
Yeah.
I know her better.
And so obviously that in itself started kind of like building up between us. And we just recently had like a very meaningful
therapy session,
heart to heart with one another, because we were feling some type of way with one another, to the point where it kind of started affecting us, like even professionally. We didn't talk for like a week.
It was like 4 days, but it felt like forever.
Yeah.
And just a snippet of that is like, oh my gosh, I want to send her this. Oh wait,
I'm not talking to her. And it's not like we got into a fight.
No, it's not like we weren't talking, but we felt we're on so much the same wavelength that we know. Like,
we felt it. We felt it without even having had said anything.
Yeah, we knew. And I think that in addition to those changes, one of the things that had given you like a fear of the unknown in the direction for our relationship was an experience that you have previously had. It's like, okay, now that there's somebody new, how is she going to prioritize our relationship? Like, am I still important? And I think because we had never been through that or that kind of change, it was like the unknown was making it feel more sad.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what am I to expect in the future? Is she gonna, just... And I know that it happens a lot where people become obsessed with anything new, right? They get a new job and boom, you never see them again. They get a new hobby.
They're just working overtime.
Good thing for us is that's not an excuse. Or a new hobby or a new friend, or they have a kid or whatever, and it's like they just forget about the people who are so invested into their lives and they don't consider like, how is this person going to feel, right? And since we never got a chance to really talk about that, there was a lot of unknowns. And I feel like as women, we're so good at like just drawing conclusions.
Yeah.
Like, since I don't have the answers, I'm going to make a conclusion from a past experience.
Correct. Yeah.
And apply it to this one because that's what most people have done in my life, And me as a person, like, I'm super loyal.
Yeah.
The amount of actual friends that I have are like
less than a handful.
Yes, it is.
This is bothering my life.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Let's see where I can hide. Right there. Okay. So, and I'm talking about quality friends, right? The kind that know my daily life. Like, I love you. I love everybody. Okay. But the people who know me, it's very small. Because
the people you let in and you actually give them like sustainable information,
right? Like live updates, day-to-day updates. And so I feel like you didn't know me yet to see how I was gonna. So that was like, and then
when I met you, you were in a relationship,
right?
You were in a relationship, so it was a different.
But he
version.
Was
it was
also
a long distance. So obviously, we were still able to hang out with each other because
24/7.
He wasn't here presently.
Yeah, and when I would see him once a month,
right. It was like for a couple of days, like 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, and that's when you were working or like, with your family or whatever. So then I get into this relationship and it is finally now healthy, right? And and this person is local. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to truly see, for those who don't know me, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian. So my goal in being in a relationship is to find out if I'm going to marry a person. I'm not just going to be dating around or being a floozy, let's just have a good old time, move in together, whatever. So I wanted this person and my love, his name is Leo and I wanted to find out, like, are we going to waste each other's time or what? Right. So in order to do that, you need to spend quality time together, asking the right questions, blah, 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 blah. So, during that time, obviously it was a pretty busy work season during that time as well. Yeah. So it was hard for us to so when we would be together, it's like, we're not going to waste it on like sad conversations. We're going to just like enjoy each other or work or whatever. So it was like building up and building up. And then, 5 months later, here we are. And just recently, we finally had a conversation where we both got to express ourselves and our expectations.
It's funny now, guys, right? But it was not funny when it was happening.
Not. There was tears.
Yeah.
We laugh because obviously
we're so stupid. Like, why can't we just communicate?
I mean, it just goes to show how much we both really care about the relationship, because we both were like it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Now it is.
Now it is. Yeah. At that moment, you know, both of our needs were not being communicated. But to segue into this question of how did we maintain a good friendship over that period of time, carrying now, I think one of the biggest things for me is when you're in a relationship with a girlfriend that you know, like, this is a solid friend, right? Not just somebody that you talk once in a while, but expressing your expectations.
Yeah.
I feel like you only do that in relationships, but you don't really do that in girl friendships. Like, there's just like, well, they should know.
Yeah.
You know, because if we don't communicate like, hey, this is something that I've experienced and I'm not sure how, I don't want to put that onto you, or I don't know how you're going to respond. So, you know, I think a good friend really wants to put in the effort to clarify any miscommunications. Like, hey, just because I got into this new relationship, like, it's not over between us.
I'm not breaking up with
We're
you.
not breaking up. Yeah. You know, it's just a transition, and it's gonna look a little bit different, but we just need to reorganize our time to you know, maintain that.
There is some, like, I was thinking about this because, you know, like you mentioned, your friendship and my friendship it's still new.
Yeah.
Like, you know, 2 years. Like, yeah, it does seem like a long time. I mean, it flew by.
Yeah, it's because we went through a lot of things during that
time. But it's still, like you said, like, we hadn't gone through a trying time where
it was tested.
Where it was tested, and we didn't know how either one of us was going to react to a certain thing, right? Because it's always been very positive,
yeah.
like, and so I
think, not to say that we haven't had misunderstandings, because we do own a business together, but I think, like, we're both very like, oh, let's just fix it, you know, so we would fix things so quickly. This was a little bit different because it involved another person. Yeah.
So I actually had to do a little bit of digging into some, like, personal, I guess, like, issues, or just kind of like really
self-reflecting. Yeah.
Just kind of really, like, digging into, like, okay, what is going on? Like, obviously you feel this type of way because, like you mentioned, it did bring a little bit of, like, PTSD, because I have gone through this with another really good close friend of mine, where every time she would get a boyfriend, she would, I felt like abandoned. I felt like
bye.
Not by necessarily, but it was just like, obviously our friendship changed. Like, we couldn't just, like, hey, come over, blah, 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 or hey, like, holidays are coming up, like, are you gonna come with us, blah, blah, you know? And so
the things that she used to do,
it just kind of, like, it
came to a halt.
And then once you got into a relationship, it kind of brought all that back, right? Because I'm like, oh my god, like, our friendship is gonna change. Like, I don't want that. Like, you know.
Just
because
FYI, guys, I'm her best friend. Just kidding.
You are one of my best friends.
Thank you.
Yes. And so to me, it was, I felt like I had to really, like you said, self-reflect and be like, okay, I need to stop being so dependent of, you know, my friends or whatnot. And I need to maybe just, like, let them live their life without expecting, because I give, like, 100% to everyone. Like, every person that comes into my life, like, I always, like, give 100%, like, all the time. Yeah. No matter what is happening with me. Yeah. You call me in the middle of the night, hey, blah, 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 I will be there. Yeah. And I get it. It's because, you know, I've been in a marriage for so long that
you're already established.
There's no getting to know, like, my husband, or there's no, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I do have that.
You have the wiggle room,
the flexibility to just be like, okay, I'm gonna like, hey, let's go wine tasting, or hey, my friend needs me in the middle of the night, or whatever. And so I did really some like digging on like a why I felt this way, and it's just because I have this. I always just feel like people are gonna reciprocate what I give to them.
Yeah.
Right. And I have these expectations of others.
Yeah.
That maybe those others aren't even aware that I have those expectations.
Yeah.
And I put so much pressure on them that when they let me down, or when I don't receive that in return, I just crumble.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not just with you, and it's not just with, but I think it's with everyone in my life. Like when I don't get that in return, I really do, like, it's disappointing. And and it's not fair for you or for anyone else for me to have these expectations of you guys, because you guys aren't even aware. These are just my expectations.
Right. It's happening in your head.
It's just, it's all like up here.
And that's why I was saying, like, I think one of the most important things to maintaining a good friendship is to express your expectations, because and being realistic, just like vulnerable, you know, like, hey, these are my fears, because sometimes our expectations, they're not unrealistic. It's just they're tied to a fear.
Yeah.
You know, and when they're tied to a fear, they're magnified. Right? So it's not like she's never called me and I haven't been there for her. It's just that she experienced disappointment at one time after another without addressing it.
Yeah.
And so when you don't address it, it's like it never gets to heal. It never comes full circle, and you're like, you know what? This isn't going to happen again and again, right? And so thankfully, like, I'm the kind of person, like, I can't sleep if we don't fix things. So, and thankfully she used to. So
I have,
so we're able to, like, talk it out and express ourselves. And I'm huge on communication. Like, if you know me, I preach communication, like, communicate. And not that I do it all the time, because it's hard. It's uncomfortable. And sometimes, especially as a woman, you feel like, well, I'm not going to express my need. Like, I'll take it for the team. I won't say anything. But, ¿qué nos ganamos? And then
you want to feel selfless. Like, you want to be like, no, this is ridiculous. I don't want to. I don't want to bother them. I don't want to, put this burden on them. But in reality, like, nos estamos haciendo daño nosotras mismas because we're not expressing how we really feel.
Right.
And not that
there's nothing wrong with that.
But, and it's not like we should have a dang conversation every other day, like, hey.
Right.
Like, okay, that's a little much.
Right.
But, when it's something where, to the point where it could potentially blow up. We need to learn to express it. And I feel like as adults, creating and maintaining those, like, fruitful and well-deserving and honest, purest friendships, it's gonna come down to your level of, obviously, loyalty and communication. Because obviously, like, one of my other best friends is, I've known her for like 20 plus years. I've known her since middle school, and our friendship is different than our friendship. Because we met as adults. We met as adults, and it was those adult commonalities that kind of brought us together versus, like, my other friend, where we grew up together. So we, she's, like, in touch with, like, all my family, so she's kind of like an extended part of, she is my family. So it's
a different vibe.
She's developed to be like a family member versus a friend. And it's just two separate types of friendships. And maintaining this friendship has been, it's a lot of work. Just as much as cultivating our friendship, like, it's a lot of work too. Like, if we as people really, like, love each other, of course you're gonna want to make it work. You have to put in the work. It's not just gonna happen just because.
And that's the thing that people don't understand. Like, I see it all the time. It's really sad. Like, female friendships, like, you hear all this negative stuff, like the cattiness, the talking behind each other's back. There's no loyalty. There's jealousy, competition, like, that whole saying of, like, we need to help each other, like, fix our crowns type of thing. It's like, that's hard to find.
It is.
And so when you grow up and you're this adult, you have, honestly, I think we all have almost zero expectation to find a friend to the degree and level that we're at. You don't expect to find that kind of friendship. You think all the friendships that you've made, they're done, and you'll have some acquaintances sprinkled here and there. But to find
seasonal friends.
Seasonal. But to find a real loyal friend who you're like, man, I can really trust this person. Because I can honestly say that I trust you. Like, even though it's been such a short amount of time, like, I know the kind of person you are. I know your character, the quality of friendship. I know you would never stab me in the back. And there's very few people I could say that about, people that I've known my whole life. You know, that you, like, there's no animosity. And even, like, the things that we struggle with, the fact that we're so honest with each other. Like, we share some pretty honest things that I think most girls don't even dare to share with each other. You know what I mean? Like, our insecurities and our struggles, we're equally as vulnerable to each other. And I think that's a super important thing, is to find that, like, friend that's equally willing to invest, because that's when a friend feels let down. It's like one person is investing more than the other, or putting in more energy than the other.
Well, it kind of just takes you back to our past talks about relationships, like with a male or whatever, a romantic relationship, right? Like, you have to be able to put just as much effort into it. Like, this is just a different type of relationship. And just like and it could be with a mom, a dad, a sister, brother, like, every relationship requires work.
Yeah. All of them.
Everything. And I think that for, you know, especially for female friendships, it's because we go through such, like, up and downs, and
periods,
we're hormonal. It's so important to be able to communicate with one another. Yeah, it is, like,
and give each other the liberty to do so. Yeah, like, one thing I love about Karina and our friendship is that, and I think this is one of the key elements that defines the strong friendships that I say are very few, is that we're very honest. Yeah. Like, the things we don't want to hear, the sucky truths, like, it goes both ways. Like, you tell me hard truth and I tell you hard truth. And without that, like, a good friend is going to tell you the truth even when it hurts. Yeah. They're not the friends who are, like, lie to you. Like, just tell you what you want to hear because they're afraid.
Well, the perfect example is, like, obviously we've just gone through a trying time in our friendship. And we sat down and we cried it out, and we, you know, I spoke, you spoke. We told each other, like, how we really felt. And there was one thing that I laughed about it later, but I'm like, oh my God, she's so right. And I even told my husband about this, and you touched on the fact that you said you try to control everything. And while you said it, obviously, like, I was taking it because, like, but then I didn't get offended by it because I am. That's just my personality. Yeah.
I call it the older sister syndrome.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. Right, because I am an older sister, and it comes with responsibilities. It's like
naturally you take that role of,
and it's just embedded in me. Like, there's nothing I could do about it. Like, it's just,
you want to micromanage.
It's just my that's, and I'm very aware of it. Yeah. I know that this is an issue for me, and I try to let it go, and I try to not be part of me. Yeah. But that's just part of me. It's part of who I am. Right. And there is goods to it.
Right. Absolutely.
But then there's also the downside to it, right? And with this conversation that we had, there was a little bit, the negative came out, and you were like, you're just trying to be so controlling sometimes. Not necessarily like I'm trying to control her, but I think the conversation that we were having,
it was specific to what we were talking about.
And I was laughing about it after. I'm like, oh my God, like, that is so true.
You told Hera?
And I told Hera, and I'm like, she told me I'm controlling, and then he was like, well, she didn't lie. And I was like, well, I know that. I'm like, that's why I didn't get offended, because it's not like she was making something up.
And this isn't something that you obviously do immediately, which what I want to touch on honesty. I think the reason why we've gotten to a place where we both feel safe is that we know we love each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You know that that person has good intentions, because if you just get into a new friendship and you're like, bruh, you're controlling, they're going to take it the wrong way. Yeah. Like 2 years ago, I couldn't have told you that.
Oh, I would have been like, girl, bye. Déjame controlar.
¿Y qué? Yeah, exactly. So I think we've had a beautiful friendship that we've cultivated over the time, where we've proven like our true desires to see the other person win.
Yeah.
We really want the other person to win. We really have good intentions towards the other person. And that makes the taking the hard stuff like a lot. It helps swallow that hard pill, you know, because you've told me stuff when I was in my, you know, that relationship that I had to let go, and I
the depre era.
Yes,
in my depre era.
When I was in my depre era, my toxic era.
Toxic.
I know, I noticed. I was like, what the heck was that? When I was in my toxic era, it's because we're Spanglish. Mm-hmm. You had to tell me some really hard truths. But without them, I wouldn't have been able to face reality. Because imagine if you would have just been like, oh, like, no, and, you know, just console me. I couldn't go that far. Yeah. You know, like, just like maintaining anything that's hard takes difficult conversations. And I'm glad that we've gone to because there's nothing more frustrating than not being able to express yourself honestly, and for the other person to want to hear what you have to say. And I'm thankful that we have that, because we already, like, the rest of the people in our world, in our circle, like, you have to almost pretend, because they don't want.
Well, I don't think it's a pretend. I think it's just more like there's levels of friends,
there's
right?
levels.
Like there's like your immediate that you talk to on a daily basis, that you like
your true
check
core
in with one another. Like, hey, like, guess what? You share memes and TikToks and whatever. Like, there's like that level of friends, and then you have like your more, you know,
have fun friends,
and then there's just different layers, right? And so it's not like if you catch up with an old friend and they say, well, how are you? You're not just gonna like lay on like
pour into them and be like, well, let me tell you how I've been. Yeah,
you know, like, so
I mean, that's why I say that you're almost, I said the word pretending, but I mean, like, you're not really able to just be yourself with everybody else. So if you don't have a friend or a few friends that you can just really like let your hair down with.
Bien Gloria Trevi.
A mí me gusta bailar.
No, voy a traer el pelo suelto.
Yeah, that was my song when I was a little girl. But if you don't have that, like, anxiety builds in you, and you're just like, te estás tragando, and that's what we were feeling that week when we were just holding it in. Just feel like, te estás ahogando in all these emotions. It's like nobody cares to hear me.
It's funny because, so what really kind of put us over the top that week was we were texting.
There was so many
things.
We
were texting back and forth, and I made a comment. I think this is what kind of really pissed you off, was that I made a comment via text. And obviously, like, texting when you're trying to express yourself is like the worst. It's like the biggest error that you can make, right? Because you lose like tonality, you lose like the context of it, right?
Right.
And yo te dije,
you joked.
I joked, and I said like, oh, well, something along the lines like, you're never around. I'm gonna
go find another friend.
No, I said I'm gonna start taking applications for a new best friend.
And I was like, I even said, girl, bye.
Yeah,
I said, girl, bye.
And I think you said, like, don't even start. Or I
said, don't even start.
Yeah, like, girl, bye. And then I was like, ew. It was so stupid. It was so stupid.
But you can't hear. Yeah. Like, that the context could have been taken, like, so much more serious if you don't know a person. And, like, if you know me in real life, like, I don't think you've ever seen me pissed at you.
No. No.
You've seen me pissed at other people.
Yeah, you're always very, like, chill, very mellow. Like I think it takes a lot.
It takes a lot to piss me off.
Yeah.
I laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't come and try me though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so when I said girl bye as well, like girl bye, it's not like girl bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are women when they say girl bye, like you're like, ooh.
And obviously because of the build up.
Yeah, there was a lot of build. There was a lot of other elements in our lives that was happening. That shall remain anonymous. There were so many things in our lives. It was like not just our friendship, but all these other things that were like the legs on that chair were all gone. So we were just like
Asian people eating on the ground.
Something like that.
That's a bad analogy.
Yeah, it was all bad. So then usually when all those other things are crumbled, you and I are still good. But this week it was like
that week was
on both of our lives.
Todo se amontonó.
With work, personal issues, friendships, relationships, like everything was gone. And then her and I too. Usually we're the people that we run to. Yeah. And then we're like, that wasn't possible.
That was tough.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest moment that we've had together. It was like...
Yeah, because you go from, you're so used to, again, talking to someone like every day or, even if you don't have like these meaningful conversations every single day. Yeah, most of the time it's really stupid. Like we send each other videos or like, haha, this is us.
Right.
Like, but... there's still a connection there, right? Like, that's our way of communicating. That's what it's developed
we
into.
speak through memes.
And so when all this was going on for the both of us, like, you had your issues, I had my own issues going on also. And when we weren't able to, like, rely on one another, like, oh, my God,
I didn't sleep.
Neither did I.
I didn't sleep.
I was barely. I am, because I'm still going through other stuff, and so it's like I haven't been able to get like a good night's sleep.
No, it's really hard when your people relationships are just dysfunctional. That's why I think like yes, money is important. Yes, work is important. Having a roof over your head, all those things. But I've had it all and not a good relationship. And when your soul is not taken care of, oh my gosh, that is like the worst anxiety ever. Like, you cannot experience peace if you're not okay with the people in your life that you love.
Yeah. Yeah.
That matter to you.
What do you think that people, which almost, this goes to everyone, because we all have friends, right? Like we have hopefully. Or whomever, if you don't, some people aren't good with making friends, right?
No.
So some people just rely on their family and they have awesome relationships with like their siblings and their parents, whatever.
Yeah.
Which is okay, it's valid, obviously.
Yeah.
But what do you think that what can people do to make any type of relationships, specifically friendships, stronger and give it that longevity of like lifelong friends?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think would...
Instead of seasonal friendships?
Yeah. But I mean, we all need those seasonal friendships.
Right. Those are important too.
Those are important too.
Seasonal friendships matter too.
Because I saw this video. I think it was a TikTok, and it was, what is that comedian? He does the Medea... What is his name? Something...
Perry. Tyler Perry.
I was something Perry.
Yeah.
So... it was an interview that he was doing, and he was talking about friendships, and this was a while back too, like before any of all this happened. But he was doing an interview, and he was basically saying like, friends, like we are like trees, and your friends you have different levels of friends. Like you have.
Oh, I think I saw that.
You have the seasonal friends, which are like, you could consider them like the leaves on a tree, right?
Right.
They come and go with seasons. Then you have the branches of the tree, which are, your friends that are, you could count on.
Right. You don't talk to every day, but you know that they're there.
Yeah. And then you have the the trunk of the tree, or like, yeah, that's what it's called, right? The trunk of the tree. You know, those are like your friends that your solid friends that you talk to on a regular basis, and then you have the root of the tree, and those are like your ride or die. Like those are the people that if you're off, like you're gonna feel
that's
off.
who you share your soul moments with.
Exactly, right? And so to me, when I saw that, I was like, that's so true. Like so true. We need those seasonal friends. We need them all. We need those branch friends. We need the trunk friends, and then obviously we need the root friends. Like, because those are our core people. Like every single, not that I don't want to diminish, like, yes, there's different levels of friends, and some might, I mean, I don't know if this is the right term to use or whatever, but they're all just as important as either one, you know, like simultaneously, sure. They're all important. Right. Obviously, like when you think of like your core friends, you're like, oh yes, like, you like know, those are my people. Like, oh my God, I cannot live without them. Right. But your seasonal and your branch friends, like, they're just as important, right? Because you they help you go through
whatever season you were in,
whatever ups and downs you're going, and they help you appreciate more like your root friends.
Root friends, absolutely.
So it's like so they all kind of. We need each other. You need every single part of that tree.
You need every single one. Mm-hmm. I think, I was thinking about it while you were talking. I think one of the top 2 most important things for me that I think to cultivate a friendship for a long period of time is having an understanding that they have needs too.
Okay.
So with the whole expectation thing, because I think like, okay, we are gonna if these are not just seasonal friends, these are friends that you're gonna grow roots with. Right. You're gonna have to go through the seasons of life with them.
Of course.
And so there has to come to a reality in your head where you're like, okay, she's going to go through a lot of changes, right? Like in my particular case, I might get married. Yeah. Our friendship's going to change a little bit in that moment, but then it'll go knowing that it's going to withstand, and you need communication, right? It's like, how can I make you feel special even during those moments that I don't? So like some of the things that I do that I don't even know if you noticed, but like during those months where I was trying to invest a little bit more in my relationship with Leo, if something would happen, I would try to make up for it in a moment when I could, like go take you that candy, go take you, send you flowers, you know, just like, hey, I'm here and your feelings are still very valid. And I still want to, you know, come for you. Or like, I know her, so I know the things that she loves, right? Like you're learning each other's love languages so you can make each other feel special in the moments when you can't just be there physically every single time. Yeah. So I think really understanding who that person is so you can help them in their love language. Yeah. I know that one of the things for you is like verbal affirmation, knowing that you're special to someone, you know, or like I like to, you know, shout her out on social media and let other people know what she means to me. Or like, you know, I'm not a millionaire, but like little gifts. Like we love food. We love food, so we share the same, you know, taste. So like, just like, hey, I thought of you. Yeah. I know that those things mean something to you. So I don't know if you noticed.
I do. Yeah.
So I sprinkled those in those months when I couldn't physically spend time with you. I tried to make up. So I think like that's going to show it's like they're going to grow those baby roots to help those other ones push. So learning your friend, what makes them feel loved, communicating that to them in those moments, those seasons, because you're going to go through them, right? Just staying as consistent as you can in the ways that you're able to, right? For the person on one side, and the other person having the understanding like, hey, it's not that she doesn't love me. Yeah. It's that right now she's going through this season, but I see her effort. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's this give and take mutual understanding.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
No, absolutely. I feel like I never really thought about that part, that like that precise,
like putting it into words.
word. Yeah, I never really thought about that, but it makes total sense. Yeah. And I noticed it, even though I never said anything. Right, obviously, like, yes, like, thank you, that was awesome, like, that's so sweet. But yeah, I never really thought of it, like, I never broke it down like that.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, I have to 100% agree with you, like, knowing what the other person, because we're not all the same.
No.
So knowing each other's, like, love language and how, what makes them happy, and making sure that not that obviously we're adults, we all have our own shit that we're going through. Yeah. But if someone is important to you, you want to give them that. Yeah,
absolutely. You want to take that little moment. And that's why during all that chaos and all those seasons that you go through, maintaining that communication, like, if your friend knows what you're going through, you're going to back off a little bit and be like, man, they're barely making it right now. Yeah. Like, me knowing, like, we know exactly what we're going to we know what the other person is going through. So we know, like, okay, she's going through a lot right now. She, like, and I have, like, let's talk in percentages. Like, right now, usually we're 100. When we know, like, everything, the legs on those chairs are solid, we know that we can give, right? Yeah. So I'm going to expect a little bit more. And I know that because I know you're able to give that. Right. But if I know that one of those legs on that chair is a little wobbly, then I'm going to be like, I'm going to compensate because I know right now I'm a little bit okay, or you're a little bit more okay. Y te voy a querer, aunque estés coja and everything. Coja y toda, I'll still love you. Thank you for accepting me as I am. So you compensate a little bit, so you push back and you're like, you know what, it's okay. Like, I know she's going through it right now, so I'm not going to have that so much more expectation on her. And I'm going to cover her with grace, with understanding. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm going to now, since I'm in a season where I can give a little bit more, I'll give a little bit more, right? And right now, vice versa, like, man, she's really struggling right now, so I know that it's taking her a lot to give right now. Or even knowing, I know this may be TMI, but knowing each other's, like, menstrual cycle. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a huge one. Like, here's some chocolate. Because the female body goes through so many changes. By the way, we have synced up. We are now we're on the same wavelength. That'll happen. Yeah. And so we women know that we go through so many things. I think this is one thing that we've mastered on each other, is being like, okay, are you gonna get your period? Like, girl, like, you, and like, say, like, I'm acting out of my norm. You'll be like, it's not her, or it's not personal. We don't take that personal. We understand, like there's you were about to get your monthly visitor. Flo is here. That makes sense. All right, that's what you want. That was a chillona. Yeah, so I think that's, like, finding a mutual. I'm sorry, not mutual. Finding and understanding, like, your person, and obviously that goes for regular relationships, but girl relationships, that's the way you're gonna maintain a solid, good friendship. Yeah. Is investing. There's no way around it. Everything takes work, just the way you need to get to know your kids, because they're all different. Yeah, and they all change. Like, there's different, like, yes, changing. Like when you're a new mom, for example, like, you think you have it all figured out. You're like, oh, I have their sleeping patterns all to the T. Yeah. When he cries like this, it's a diaper change. When he cries like, but then you get a toddler and you have to start all over again, getting to know the little personality that's kind of developing, Then you get a little, 7, 8-year-old who then starts developing a smart mouth, and then you have to adapt. Yeah. And it's the same way with friendships. And 100%. That's a good point. I think for female friendships, it's a little bit tougher than male friendships, because for the most part, male, it's a kind of embedded within them that they just,
You want to hang out? Cool. If you don't?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Busy.
Like, you want to grab a beer? Right. Yeah, cool. Let's go.
Because they don't have all those, like, their minds are not going 24/7 like us. And we hold on to things.
Not that male friendships are any less important, right?
Male friendships matter too.
Oh my God.
We do not discriminate against male friendships, guys.
No. They're just as important.
So important. So important.
They're just
I
as
know,
important.
but remember a couple episodes back, you were like, so important.
So important. But we just have a lot of feelings, you know.
So many feelings.
And we go through so much, like, in a month.
Just in a short 30 days.
And so, yeah, it's kind of just figuring out what that person's gonna need at different stages of their life.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously there's key components to a friendship, like loyalty, right? Never betraying your
basic
best,
stuff.
Yeah, just
it's usually
but now in today's age, those things, those simple basic things, they get lost. There's just
non-existent.
Like, well, I don't think that way, or that's old school. Listen,
some things should never change.
Yeah, there's just things that should not, and that should stay and remain in place. Like, to me, loyalty is number one, especially with, and again, like, even if that loyalty were to get severed, okay, well, if we're now here where one of us, you know, I heard you were talking behind my back or blah, 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 right? That's a level of loyalty, right? That you break someone's loyalty.
Betraying somebody's trust.
Let's figure out a way to fix that. Right. How can we, like, I don't like how that you did that. That made me feel a certain way. Yeah. You communicate. Right. Right. So loyalty, communication, and like you said, I think that's super important, is figuring out what the person that you're in this relationship, friendship with needs on a seasonal basis. Like, if you're going to be there long term, you better bet your ass that you're going to have to work and put in that work for that relationship, that friendship. Right. Because nothing's going to come easy. Like, you're going to have to really put in that work.
Yeah. To make that person feel like
at least
they matter.
If you really...
Right. If they matter.
If they matter to you. Like, if you love them, then obviously it goes without saying. Right. You know, at least for me, like, if I really love somebody, I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure that like I apologize if I did them wrong, that I, you know, get to know those things that makes them feel special, and remind them that they're special, tell them that I love them, and, you know, really put in that effort. Yeah. To me, obviously, loyalty. For me, it's I love to cook, and you know this. Yeah. I love, and everybody who knows me, like, knows that I enjoy cooking. Like, I will cook even if I'm sad, if I'm mad, if I'm happy. It's just, that's just how I express myself, like, through my cooking. So if you get a plate that's shitty, it's because I was mad. If it gives you the runs, well, there you go. No, I'm just kidding. No, I would never do that. But to me, it's like giving.
Expression of love
is cooking for other people and giving, you know. And with giving, it could be my time. I think to me, time is, you know, spending time with one another, carving out and I get it. Quality, like, we're all so busy. Like, we have, you know, big girl jobs. Yeah. We have family, we have kids, we have spouses to take care of, we have, you know, a bajillion other things that we also have on our plate. And it's just a matter of, like, making sure we carve out that time.
Making the effort.
And put in the effort. Yeah. And distance should not be an issue between friendships. But sometimes it is. Yeah. And that's okay. But it's just more like, all right, well, I couldn't make it, but let's do this instead.
Yeah, or let's plan something. It's like, just like the intent to plan for making it happen, you know? And I think that's
and consistency. Huge. To me.
I mean,
for me, consistency is something that is like, when I don't feel that something's consistent, it's like, well, then I don't. Well, for me, right? Like for me, consistency is a really big thing.
Yeah.
And because I am always very consistent, and again, I know maybe that's my downfall, that because I give consistency, I expect it back.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't put that pressure on others for that. But
yeah. So I think that's huge, and having these conversations with your girlfriends, like what usually they are forced to happen during turmoil, you know, because they're more magnified, and you're able to be like, I needed that and it wasn't being met. 'Cause sometimes you don't know what's missing until then it goes missing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so having that communication, and I will always forever talk about this on this podcast, it's like, you need to communicate. You need to communicate, because it makes a world of a difference, because human beings come to a conclusion in their own mind about your intentions, and then everything is skewed.
They could get their own narrative without it, with it being so far off of what reality is. Yeah. You know, but if you just don't communicate and you didn't express how you feel, then it's gonna explode. Yeah. So with that being said, you know, friendships are important. We all need friendships because, well, it gives us, they're our extended part of our family, and friendships take work. They take work. They take effort. And when someone and something really matters to you, you're going to put in the work. You're going to put in the work, and you're going to do whatever it takes to cultivate that and make it grow and make it, you know, give it the longevity that you really do want it to have. Right. So with that being said, you know, I feel like I'm so grateful for your friendship. Aww. And I'm really glad that, you know, that we met for whatever reason. Yeah. And every day I'm very thankful to have you in my life. And you are one of my like truest friends, one of my truest best friends. And it's, you know, it sucked not having you that like week. Totally, oh my God. That was bad. It was so bad. Yeah. Even though we didn't really fight.
Yeah, we still talked a few times.
And it was so cold too.
Yeah, it was like, oh, that was so sad. It was sad.
It was.
Yeah. But the feeling is mutual.
Yeah. And, you know, we talked it out. So I am so grateful that we're able to communicate how it took that we let it kind of get to where it got until we had to actually talk. But, you know.
But it built us stronger, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So people, take care of your friends. Take care of them. If you really, truly love them, you know, put in the effort. Make them feel special. Find out, like Jessica said, find out what you know, what tickles their feathers, and you know, make sure that you're there as that you're truly there for them. Yeah. That you have true intentions for them. It's not a competition. Yeah. True friends should not be competitive with one another. Yeah. They should always want to see them win, and love them as your extended family, and be there for them. So we hope that you have enjoyed today's talk. Yeah. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.